Okay, we're here with Michael from Reitium. How are you enjoying the conference?
It's amazing. It's our first conference in Canada. First time having a booth in Canada and speaking, and the reception has been wildly impressive. We're really, really happy about it.
Did you speak on main stage?
No, we spoke on the Nakamoto stage, but it was great because what happened was we actually got a targeted audience. I'd say like 50% of the audience came specifically to hear about how we're tokenizing real estate assets using blockchain.
And what stage is the project at?
Right, so right now we're just about to release our beta. We're going to do our first property deal, is a Canadian single bedroom condo in Vancouver. And then we'll be launching the full platform in November, where we have around 700 properties, or the equivalent of about $280 million in letters of intent from groups all around the world, mainly Canadian and United States real estate.
I mean, people have been talking about property on the blockchain as an amazing use case. How's it been for you guys in terms of what are the obstacles that you've overcome? Any regulation or anything? How do you see this next level of adoption for people buying and selling property through Reitium?
That's a really good question. So what our biggest focus has been watching the companies that started last year is compliance, right? So as a use case, tokenizing a real world asset allows for its value to be put into hundreds to thousands to millions of tokens, meaning what you can do is you can have fractional ownership. So that means for us, we can allow people to invest and own property for as little as $100, get dividends monthly, get the appreciation in the token value that links back to the asset. But what that's about is this means this is actually a securities activity, and what this means, this is actually a compliance play. And so what we spent the last 6 months is working on the regulatory framework to make sure this can happen, to defend the assets, but also to protect the company and the investors as well. So what this is about is KYC, so getting really, really clear on what that means and what the needs of each jurisdiction can the United States to start off with. The second thing is anti-money laundering, making sure all the money that's coming in is clean, is marked, and is ready to be deployed. The third thing is compliance and secondary trading, right? And so what we've done is, we see there are a few companies who are creating compliance engines for Ethereum, but what we decided to do is, instead of waiting for all those betas to come through, let's work with Hyperledger Fabric. So we're actually on IBM Hyperledger Fabric. It's a private and permissioned blockchain, and that allows us to centralize compliance and make it sure that every time a token is traded, all the compliance, KYC, AML, as well as is that person accredited, non-accredited, has the token being held for the right amount of time, and what are the tax implications and how is that being reported. So all of that is built into our token, and we're really just excited to be able to actually deploy something that's compliant and that can work around the world.
Tell us about working with Hyperledger and Brian Ballendorf.
Hyperledger is fantastic. I think a lot of projects, they work on Ethereum. Ethereum has scalability issues. Obviously, sharding is coming to life, but Hyperledger, when you have your own private blockchain, 3,500 transactions per second. So right off the bat, right? And we're not competing. So CryptoKitties crashed the Ethereum network because everyone's competing for that same use time. With us, we get out 3,500. If you went and spun off a Hyperledger project tomorrow, you get 3,500 transactions per second. The second thing is, I've listened to a lot of his talks and said, they from the beginning said, a lot of companies are trying to build plumbing infrastructure for blockchain. Hyperledger is an open source project supported by about 150 companies, allows us to all use that basic plumbing, but also from the beginning they said, let's build this for business logic and business enterprise transactions. So we're almost standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's why we're able to do 6 months of development that before would take us 3 years, right? So it's been fantastic. IBM as a partner as well. We then get their hosting, we get their scalability, and we get their credibility as well, because their mainframe handles 44 of the top 50 banks in the world, as well as 90% of airlines are using that for check-in and tracking. So that's the sort of backing that we brought to our project, and our enterprise clients love it, right? So it makes it such an easier sell. We're a new company, but our infrastructure is tried and tested.
And where are your devs?
Really good point. So we actually have a few devs. So our team, we've got a few devs in Vancouver, Canada. We got some devs in Seattle and California, and then we've got a few outsourced devs who are doing our mobile front end. But most of the blockchain is being built here in North America.
Man, so good talking to you. What an incredible project, and I think you gave such a good overview and summary of what you guys are doing and how we can have complete faith in where you guys are heading. The fact you're building on Hyperledger, you're partnered with really good people, and we wish you all the very best, man. Good talking to you. How can people find out about the project?
So people can find out about Reitium at reitium.com. From there, you can actually get into our Telegram group. What's really exciting is our pre-sale will start next month. and we're really just excited to have the world get into that. It is a utility token that's going to be used for payments on our platform. You'll be able to swap that utility token for security tokens. Every property has its own security token. It's non-fungible, so you'll be able to really identify, I own a piece of this condo or a piece of that REIT, and we're just excited to open up real estate for everyone, because that's really the true dream of blockchain, and we're just really grateful to be here.
Incredible, man.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
well said.
Yeah, thank
Great
you,
to talk to you.